Good morning, good day, good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Today we are here with Trickster Jake. Well, everybody's expecting new jokes now that you have a lot of new functionality in your app. So let's see if you got some of those written down. Before we get going, and Jake will probably not have to introduce himself, but we're gonna let him anyway. Before we get going, just a few quick things. As I hope most of you know, the no buy-in fee period is going on right now for another 6 days until the 12th of May. So make sure to stake right now so you don't have to pay the buy-in fee. Besides that, of course, like the exchange rate of SFlare versus Flare is now a 1.398. We're almost at 1.4, and that means that we are going to definitely have an APY for last year, for our first year, of over 40%. So I'm happy to see that I wasn't completely off in the beginning. And now the big things that we are going to talk about today, we have USDT 0 live on Flare. And of course, Jake will be talking about that and the impact that it has had. So that's great to see. I think the whole network has benefited from that. And then one last thing is to keep an eye on our socials in the coming month. We'll be doing a little giveaway at some point. It will be on Discord, so don't just stick to X. Make sure to join our Discord so you can actually play along. All right, so Jake, happy to see you here. Happy to see you happy. Well, I guess I've never really seen you, at least like visually, not happy.
Well, I was trying to make a sad face, but then I just made myself laugh, so that was tough there.
Yeah, you probably have some little clown on your monitor or something like that.
Yeah, it's called a mirror.
All right, people, that's a nice self-image you have there. So, Jake, Kinetic, how are things going?
We're busy. we're busy. Things are going well. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out very, very soon. Within this week, maybe early next week, probably by the end of this week. There's a lot of stuff coming out. We're very busy because, as you said, USDT 0 is a big deal. It's a big deal for us. It allows us to scale. It allows the whole network to scale a large amount of stable liquidity. Obviously, massive amounts have been flooding into Kinetic. We're working on, the big thing. I guess I'll put my blanket statement out there because I'm sure there's user questions about this. When borrow cap go up, we're working on it. What we're trying to do, because traditionally, we kind of like inch the borrow cap up as we safely can. We're working on a new method to kind of release that limiter, and one of the limiters, right? We're not just going to let it fly up. But we're working on ways to make borrows more efficient and able to raise that borrow cap higher, quicker, which is obviously what a lot of people are wanting to hear. And I'm happy to be here to say it. So that's going to be coming soon. Maybe not as soon as you would like, but probably by the end of this week, we're going to be working on doing that because obviously there's a lot of demand. A lot of people are anxious to get their borrows for USDT 0 up, and we're here to facilitate. That's not the only thing we have coming up, but as far as straight up being able to say it, as well instead of just hinting, I'll be doing some hinting later. That's what the words I'm going to say with my mouth right now.
Hint. All right.
Hint.
I can't wait to hear more of those hints. So besides that, of course, we have some other things. I have some other things on the list, but maybe from your point of view, how is USDT 0 affected the Flare network?
Well, I can mostly just speak for Kinetic. Obviously, the biggest thing that people have noticed is the other stables, USDTC and USDT. There's a lot of USD some things. USDT and USDC, the borrow APY has gone up a lot because of it's shifting. It's very clear and very obvious. We've put out stuff about this, warning about this, that there is a preference, right, for this new stable. I mean, it's a big collaboration to be pushing this stable with the Flare network. So obviously incentives aren't going to completely go away, but we did stop incentives on borrowing, which is a limited thing anyway. Borrow incentives are not something that are supposed to go on for forever. As a lending protocol grows up and goes to college and gets more stable and gets more, activity, you're not supposed to be incentivizing borrows forever, because then, that's where money is made. That's where people are paying in. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So we stopped borrow incentives for USDT and USDC. Borrow incentives have not yet started for UST 0, but hint.
But.
And the supply incentives for USDT and USDC are still going. The current plan, and we talked about this as well, is with USDT supply incentives, we're going to kind of taper them off over this epoch. Currently, USDC is not going to be tapered off. I think it's going to be the incentives for supplier at a slightly lower level, but consistent. And I think you could understand why we would do that. Obviously, USDT 0 is kind of a replacement for USDT, but supporting another stable, still very important. Maybe not as important as USDT 0, but we're planning to keep support for USDC going, which I think everybody can agree is a smart move. Everybody likes Circle. They're a great bunch of guys, great shape, not the best shape, but top two. I mean, the number one being the triangle.
Yeah, that's your favorite.
Well, it's not just me. I mean, objectively, that is the best shape. I'm that's not even my personal preference, but a triangle is objectively the best shape.
All right. I guess that's why it was chosen. I hear myself.
I don't. You sound good to me.
All right. Yeah, now I don't hear myself anymore. Good.
It's probably just the voices. We all get them.
Yeah, of course, I have those constantly. So I was also like, why is USDT 0 better than USDT, I guess, bridged, right? So what is the difference? Do you know?
Let's see. Well, there's a 0 at the end.
Yeah. What's the 0 for?
It's for Layer 0. It's one of those companies. They do crypto stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, I had read somewhere.
Well, yeah, let me ask you this. So have you played around with doing the USDT to USDT 0 swap?
I don't have any USDT because I live in Europe, man, and we are not allowed to have USDT.
You're not allowed to have it?
Well, we can't use it in a central exchange because they didn't follow the right rules according to the EU. So we can only have USDT.
Will you be able to use USDT 0?
Yeah, we can use it. We can use it in DeFi. We can just not get it from a central exchange or anything like that.
So what makes it different?
I think it's the 1-to-1 ratio. So Circle says that USDC is always covered. Every dollar is covered by a banknote somewhere in a vault, and that's not entirely true, I guess, for USDT. They have some other things covering it as well.
So that's true for USDT 0?
I think so. I think it's the same for USDT 0. I didn't check it yet. But I think there was also something around around the gas fees, right? Isn't it zero gas fees?
Yeah. Yeah. They say that. And this is what I was kind of touching towards is so you can take USDT and you can swap it for USDT 0. By the way, it's kind of annoying that you can't have a cash sign, on Twitter with USDT 0. Do you know that?
You mean that little T with the
$dollar sign. Well,
yeah.
no, forgetting about the T with whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do USDT and then a 0 and have that be a cash sign on Twitter. You can't have a number.
Okay, and this has been keeping you up, I see.
Well, it bothers me. I will say it bothers me. So it's like, okay, I want to look at a feed for news about, the Flare token. Click. Someone did a cash sign. Click. Okay. Yeah. It operates as a hashtag. You can't do that for USDT 0.
Okay. We need to complain.
I mean, I don't know what you can do. I don't know if you can do anything.
No.
Yeah. I don't think you can.
I'm pretty sure that if you try to type it like that long enough, it will somehow be picked up by the weird algorithm that is there. Maybe?
I don't think so. No, I don't. I think that you just can't have a number. You just can't have a number. Like I've seen this come up with other people have had this issue. So I wonder, did they think about that? Maybe they could have made it USDTZ. That would have worked.
Yeah, that's also cool to have 0 there. All right. Anyway, X issues or Twitter issues aside.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as the fee thing, we got off on a tangent. Yeah. As far as the fee thing, you can swap it. Sometimes it doesn't work. Actually, recently I've been having a lot of trouble just doing the direct swap. So I just go on SparkDex and swap USDT for USDT 0, and obviously I'm paying fees.
Yeah.
But it's less fees than submitting 10, 20 failed transactions. There's been an issue. It was really good the first few days, but not really sure what's going on now. Maybe it's my problem. Maybe it's my wallet. I have tried on multiple devices. I have cleared my cache, but maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's my fault.
It's probably you. I think so. So how much USDT 0 is in Kinetic at the moment?
Let's check. Let's do a live check.
Oh,
because it was 11 million.
No, it's way more. I know that.
Oh my gosh. Let's
yes.
take a look here.
You really just woke up, didn't you?
Well, some people say that I am always in a state of sleep.
Oh, waking up. Oh.
Yeah, well, falling asleep, waking up, that kind of, that twilight hour version of the human experience is what I'm kind of stuck in. It's a curse. There was an old lady that I stiffed at a restaurant. She was the bus girl. You can't call her a bus boy. Bus woman, sorry, excuse me, bus woman. And I didn't give her a tip. I didn't know you're supposed to give bus people tips for bussing the table. I thought they shared that with your server.
Okay.
She was very upset and she cursed me to basically not have a functioning mind. And that's why I am the way I am. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing I can do. I've talked to a local shaman.
You really take that tipping serious in the US, don't you?
Oh my! Are you kidding?
This is
we'll get back to
a whole other level.
Get back to this flare factor stuff later. Yeah, we do, and it's been getting insane. You go to a coffee place. Pretty much every place, whether you're picking up to go, you're getting a coffee, you're in the drive-through, right? There's no service. They're handing you a thing that you purchased. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, let me ask you a few questions here. And they flip their little iPad around, ask him for a tip. Yeah, I have to Google, if someone's coming to install, if I'm paying $200 for someone to install a TV in my house, I have to Google, am I supposed to tip these people? Anybody who does anything for me, do I have to tip
Hey,
them? And the answer is always yes. And it's like, if you don't want to tip them, then don't do anything. It's like, okay, well then I'll just stay in my home in my little box and never go out and do anything.
have you considered like having a little tip button in Kinetic? Just see who clicks on it and tips.
It's a fantastic idea.
That is, yeah, you never know.
Buy Jake coffee button.
Yeah.
That's,
he needs it. Some Twilight coffee, you know, like
he does need it.
I
do need it.
Bit of boost. All right. So how much is in there? I think by now you have been able to open the website, right?
I have. Are you trying to say I was stalling? How dare you? How dare you? We have currently supplied, goodness gracious, was I off? 11 million. Talk about double. $22 million in USDT 0. Can you believe it? I can't.
Unbelievable. Who would have thought? All right.
Not me.
But that sounds pretty good. And since we're here anyway, what's the APY at the moment, so people know that they need to quickly bring their shit there? You know,
the APY is 35% supply, which is pretty good. Right now, like a tiny 0.02% is the actual supply APY that you'll be getting in token. Most of it is the distribution APY. You'll be getting an R flare. More specifically, it's 35.13% that you'll be getting, which is pretty good. It's not crazy anymore. I mean, when it started, it was like 600%.
Oh yeah. It's always like that. If you're the first one in, you know, you can just see that little counter go like.
It lasted for a good amount. Actually, it took a while for people to get the hang of it, and then it went down to 100. Then it was at like 50 for like a few days, which was nice. But a bunch must have just got in because, you know, last night it was like at 48 or something, like pretty close to 50. So if we're all the way down to 35, it must have been a big boy must have came in.
Yeah, like someone like really like
Bill Gates. I think it was Bill. I think it was Bill.
Bill Gates. Yeah. He's a big USDT 0 maxi.
he's been getting into crypto because after, you know, he split with his wife, you know, he's just been, you know, really sad,
gambling basically,
and he's been turning to, you know, she kept him grounded, and I feel like he's just gone off the rails ever since they split. Only 1 million USDT in borrows.
But that's probably because that's the borrow cap. So, you know, it kind of.
Hey, what is the borrow cap?
Yeah, you can click on it.
You can click on it.
Oh, come on! Okay, maybe you should share your screen, and then we can go over your app, and I can tell you where one is.
Great idea. Actually, this is a good idea because the amount of people that don't know this is more than 4, probably more than 40.
But soon it will be one less, so that's great.
We'll see.
If you can figure out how to share your screen, of course. That's
Did I do it?
Not yet, or at least I don't.
It's there. It's there.
Yeah, now it's coming. Yeah, it's a bit slow.
Okay, right. So you've got your primary markets here. If you go to your dashboard, you scroll to the bottom. Here's where it gets crazy, people. Here's where it gets interesting. Oh, I would like to know more information about USDT 0. Boom. Click.
And you get like everything. And there you can see it, right?
Chart. You get the amount of supply. And what is this? What is this thing right here? You get the current borrow cap. You can check the borrow cap for everything. A lot of people are like, how do I know what the borrow cap is?
Well,
there you go. There you go. That's how you know.
It is all known. Yeah, it's all here. It's great. Yeah.
Just click it.
So then you know that you don't have to try and borrow anything at the moment because it will just not work.
It'll also tell you like you can't do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, I don't know if I can trust this website. I mean, it's telling me I can, but like, what if I can?
Still try, you know.
Yeah, just keep trying. Don't do that. But for my borrow friends out there, for my borrow buddies, we're working on it. You might say, why is it Why is it taking so long, Jake? You might say that in that accent. I don't know why you would, but you might. You might say, why is it taking so long? It's because we're doing a lot of upgrades. Now, we did a lot of security upgrades a little bit ago. We got a new audit, did a bunch of stuff. We implemented a 3-day kind of waiting period for when we're doing big upgrades to the system. So since we're doing big upgrades, we have to wait 3 days.
Yeah.
So it'll probably be by the end of the week. You know, I always say we don't say when we're going to raise a borrow cap in advance, because I guess I should explain this, because everybody just waits at their computer.
And it's like hitting the F5 button or whatever you use to refresh.
Yeah, and it doesn't like crash the site. It's just everybody's trying to submit transactions to Flare Network at the same time, and it gets congested. And it's a lot of people don't. Here's the thing. Psychologically, they're like, I'm there at the time, therefore I should get it. But obviously, there's still a limit to how many people can get the limited amount of borrow.
Yeah.
There's still a limit. But psychologically, they're like, I'm there, therefore I should be doing it.
I should get this. Yeah.
There's hundreds of people there next to you, buddy, is the problem. It's not like a typical line, right? Maybe their internet's a little bit faster, like a microsecond faster, then they win.
Yeah, so you know, just a crazy idea. There's this thing called Rainlang and Raindex. You could probably try and set up some kind of transaction there that will check, and as soon as the borrow cap goes up, it will make a borrow. I think that's possible. That's what the whole language is for.
Don't tell them about that.
Oh, sorry.
Don't tell them about that. That's cheating. Then the people who don't know will get even more mad.
But then they can do it. Then they can also like borrow when they're asleep.
But then how would they complain about being asleep to me?
Then you won't get
I was asleep. I'm like, I try to track the sleep schedules of every single person in my community. You know, that's one of my hobbies. That's one of my passions, is tracking.
You basically watch them sleep, right? That's why you hack their cameras and shit like that.
Yeah, I have to watch them sleep. I have to make sure they're okay. I care about them just like the government. But we try to target times that are good for the majority of the world. We try to do that. We can't always. We try. We're trying our best. We're not trying to target you. We're not trying to say like, oh, we're not even targeting America. We're not like, oh, only America. We're looking for that golden window where most of the world's awake and not at work. Which, maybe when you're asleep. I'm sorry. The goal of the borrow stuff is to eventually get to the point where everybody can borrow freely and there isn't a cap that you have to worry about. Obviously. But when you launch a new market, a highly incentivized market like this one, it's tough to get there. It takes some time. We are working on making that time shorter, but we do ask for your patience. And if you give us a little patience, we'll love you. We love you. Simple as.
Patience. All right. That's
when soon. Yeah. When soon. The cycle.
This beautiful cycle.
It's
not our strongest suit on blockchain, but I guess that's our demon. But we still need it.
I just got a fresh message. It says, "Why can't I borrow USDT0?"
Yeah. So you can't, because the borrow cap is already hit, guys.
Okay, thanks. I'll respond.
I was just telling them so you don't have to tell them again, because it's probably you just have that underneath your copy paste at the moment. But
no, hey, these are personalized messages.
So you copy paste and then you add their name, or what?
No, hey, I don't do copy paste. How dare you? I definitely should have like a document of like canned responses, but I guess I'm just too personal. Well, I told him, he said, okay, thanks. So we're good.
Oh, that's a really nice response.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah. Considering
honestly, that is a nice response. Thanks,
Hey.
Pearson. I appreciate it.
So USDT zero, I think we've discussed that basically to the point that people know, like, okay, it's going well. A lot of it is ending up in Kinetic at the moment. I think there's a lot of it also in a DEX pool, so you can actually swap. So that's great because those two are absolutely necessary for borrows to be activated. Borrow caps will be increased, but we can't necessarily say exactly when.
I hinted. I did.
We can only hint at when, but we cannot say when. Especially because if it then doesn't happen exactly on time, someone will be pissed off about that. And we love to do things on time, but we like it even more if it's secure. So sometimes it takes a little bit longer. I saw something else when you were sharing your screen, and I know it's not as new as USDT, but we haven't discussed it on this show. So I saw ISO markets down there, and I think a lot of people are like, what the hell is this? Why does it exist?
A lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like that. It's very simple. I feel like if they just went with their gut on this one, they would be able to figure it out. ISO markets is short for isolated markets. They are markets isolated from the main markets. Why is that a thing? Well, you may not know this, but our main markets, all those assets, it's like a connected web. They're all connected. They all impact each other. So everybody wanted us to add Joule. They wanted us to add, and it makes sense, Kinetic's native token for the lending protocol. I want to be able to supply that to the lending protocol. Yeah, sure. But it's a new token. It's an untested token. It's a volatile token. So we could, it wouldn't be a good decision. We could add it to the main markets, but that volatility would affect the stability of the main markets. We didn't want to do that. So we created isolated markets. And we also used it as an opportunity to do something, a little experiment that was being requested by Flare for a long time, which was to add naked Flare. Now, this is relevant to you because for a long time, we're like, why would you want that? You have S-Flare.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm still not sure why you would want that, but
Me neither. I also am not so sure why they want, but they did. They wanted naked Flare, and kind of the experiment was, let's see if people do it. Let's see if people use it, and they do. They do supply naked Flare and borrow naked Flare in the ISO markets.
okay.
Part of that is because it's incentivized, but I don't even know if the amount of incentives are more than Flare drops.
I sincerely doubt it.
Yeah,
I can check it, but I mean, if it's not let's say like roughly 40%,
it's not.
Yeah,
it's not. And then if you count Flare drops plus S Flare being supplied and incentives there, obviously, Essler's the better move there. But they wanted to try it out, and that's what ISO markets are for. They're for some experiments with tokens, stuff you're not sure, because it's safe from affecting the general market. We also added USDC, which a lot of people laughed at us and said, "You're adding USDC? That's not an untested token." Yeah, but you want a stable to be able to borrow.
Yeah, you need something there, right? Because you can only borrow if you supply something to the ISO isolated markets. You can only borrow another token out of those isolated markets, right? So basically, it's a second market.
Yeah. It's a second market. So it's nothing crazy's happening. It's it's not super incentivized. It's incentivized enough. It's got a good amount of liquidity. I think the borrow caps hit on USDC in the ISO markets, but it's not meant to be. It's not the main market. So it's a way for us to add Joule in a way that's safer. Doesn't doesn't rock the boat, and that's exactly what we've seen. Is the boat has not been rocked, which has been nice.
Yeah.
And it's a great place to introduce new tokens that we might want to graduate later to the main markets. Like as time goes on, we think, okay, Jule's proven, not to be that volatile. It's got a, stable liquidity, et cetera, et cetera. We'll graduate that. We could graduate Naked Flare. I'm not sure that we would, because again, maybe we should explain why wrapped flare is not Naked Flare and wrapped flare is not typically something you would want in a lending protocol.
Yeah, I think the reasons are quite simple. Naked Flare doesn't get any rewards whatsoever normally. So, to get any rewards with that flare, you need to either wrap it or you need to stake it. Right? I'm not talking about S flare. You would need to stake it just generally. So, supplying that basically means that you're not getting the rewards. You're only getting the rewards for whatever, APY there is for supplying. Red Flare theoretically gets rewards, but if you put it in another protocol, then it's up to that protocol to create some kind of like additional complexity, read also risks, to get those Red Flare related rewards to the users. And there are, of course, protocols that have done that, but it isn't really necessary because there is a liquid stake token. And the whole point of a liquid stake token is to do exactly that. You can supply it to Kinetic or throw it into a liquidity pool or whatever else. It keeps getting those rewards no matter where it is. As long as it's yours, as you have a claim to it, then you should be able to pick up those rewards at some point by, withdrawing and unstaking. So I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So if we didn't add that extra complexity and you were just supplying your wrapped flare, other people would be able to claim your rewards if they borrowed from you.
Yeah, and there's that additional thing, like if you supply wrapped flare and then someone borrows it and supplies it, then whose are the rewards? It's going to become very complex in that sense. So it doesn't really work, especially for a lending protocol.
Yeah. So that's why. And yeah, the ice markets are cool. We'll be looking at adding more tokens to them naturally, as they're, that's what it's for, is tokens that normally wouldn't make the cut to go straight to our primary markets can get introduced there and maybe graduate. Yeah. So it's cool. It's cool.
Anything else new coming up that you can hint at?
All right, let me think. How do I hint? So a lot of people have been running into this issue with USDT 0. I have a bunch of loans in USDT currently on Kinetic. I would like to transfer those loans over to USDT 0. Currently, I have to pay off the loans and then, the borrow cap, and how am I supposed to do that quickly? It's a very complicated situation. So we're looking at a solution to fix some of those problems. Hint.
That might at some point. There might be at some point some solution for that, making life a little bit easier.
Some sort of solution for that.
All right, sounds good. Hey, I also noticed there's a swap thing in your interface nowadays.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I mean, look at it. There's a nice little button that says swap. So a lot of people, this is with our little partnership with OpenOcean. A lot of people.
We know that.
We love you. A lot of people were like, I don't want to have to go to other apps when I'm doing stuff on Kinetic. So you don't have to. Through our little widget in our site, you can swap tokens. It's really easy, and you don't have to leave the Kinetic site. It's pretty cool.
Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice that that's been added. I think USDT 0 is not in there yet, but it wasn't yesterday. But you know,
let's check. Let's check. It's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it does.
No, it's not. It's not in there yet. Open Ocean.
Get that USDT 0 in there.
Get that
Come on,
USDT 0 in there.
All right. I'm sure they will soon, since there is a DEX pool available. So yeah, that shouldn't necessarily.
I wish there was a shorter way of saying USDT 0, because that's 6 syllables.
It is quite long. Maybe we can just say 0, because there's no other
zero token.
But is there something on Flare like that, or can we just say T0?
T0 works for me.
Yeah,
that's cutting the syllables in half right there.
Yeah, and especially if you use the little T with the things, that makes it look like.
Why is it like that?
It's because it's a financial symbol. They always have.
It is.
Yeah.
This is news to me. I had no idea what that T was.
I think that's supposed to be a financial. Like you have the dollar with the little like
hieroglyphics.
Yeah, yeah. It's only understood by bookkeepers and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah.
From King Pharaoh Ramu, I think, made that.
He did?
The financial pharaoh.
The financial pharaoh. Also triangles. They loved those triangles back then too.
They love them still today. I mean, that's like that's the most solid shape. That's why it's #1 shape.
It is. You can even find it on the dollar bill, man. There's like a triangle there with the little eye of.
Well, hey. Let's hold on. All
right, you put it there. I know that. Do you have any other like sneaky things that you can hint at, or?
I mean, the biggest thing is that we're going to try to implement a system where people can take their borrows and transfer it to another token. There will be a fee associated with this, but the cool thing is, hey, my borrows are in Flare, right? And the price of Flare is going down, or whatever. The value of my loan is increasing past a certain limit. My health factor is in jeopardy. I'm going to get liquidated maybe. Instead of getting liquidated, you could transfer your loan to a stable, right?
Nice.
This would be good.
This would be interesting. Yeah, definitely.
Right. You would pay a fee. It's it's not.
Yeah, I mean, you got to eat, right? They're not tipping you, so at some point,
we don't have the tip button yet, so there would be a fee, but obviously it would be better than liquidation.
And it's only like a fair a tip for coffee, not for eggs, which apparently in the US is a huge thing. So
it is getting better.
Cheaper eggs.
The egg market. The egg market is getting better. I've done a lot of investing.
You got some egg stash.
I got some egg stash. I sold near the top.
Yeah.
And right now we're getting towards a dip, so I'm able to eat some of my eggs, which is nice.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, there was some supply issues. I don't really know what the deal was, but it's getting better. But yeah, it was like over $1 per egg for a while. It was rough.
So yeah, okay, all right. So
maybe it was rough.
Maybe you should add eggs. Egg? Have you considered adding eggs to your markets? Do you think that's like an ISO market token, or like?
Well, we'd have to work with a firm to validate, right? We don't want fake eggs,
rotten eggs.
We don't want rotten eggs.
No.
So there'd have to be a structure for verifying that the egg is as eggy as as eggy as it can be.
All right.
It wouldn't be over easy, is all I'm saying.
No. All right. So I think that's going to be a while before we figure out like a good, secure structure for that.
Real world assets,
Yeah, true. All right. I think before our marketing manager goes bananas of what is this nonsense, maybe we should give him. He's there like, oh my god, come on, guys, come on. All right.
I mean, I tried to warn you.
Yeah, we know it's going to be like this, so
Yeah.
it's we're not innocent here. But maybe it's time for some questions from the audience. Let's see. Q&A.
Exciting. Can you explain the APY for borrowing? Why is some negative? Yes, I can. So when you have a borrow, you have the borrow APY. If you look at, there's a little tooltip, little
You can
eye with
show
a
it
circle.
if you want. Maybe it's
No, it's not going to take that long to explain. There's borrow APY, and then there's distribution APY. Some borrows, as we've talked about, are incentivized. Borrow APY, I think right now for USDT. Well, let's use another example. For ISO market USDC, the borrow APY is 8.28%. That's not money going to you. That's interest you're paying on the borrow, right? So the distribution APY on this is 12%. So that is an incentivized borrow. So the APY that you're going to see if you don't open up the tooltip is 3.79%. It's in the positive. If the borrow is not incentivized, you're paying the borrow APY. That's your interest.
that's
negative.
Yeah, that sounds like normal life. When I go to the bank, they're not actually giving me extra money to borrow. It's not.
Yeah.
Only banks get that from like a central bank when things are really great, minus 1%. But yeah, usually you pay for borrowing money, and depending on how much it's incentivized, you pay more than you get.
There you
right?
go. That's right. Simple answer.
All right.
What do you plan to do to retake the spot of Flare's #1 protocol by TVL?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you didn't even know you had been #1 or what?
I didn't. I didn't
Currently,
know
you're
that.
#2.
I'm cool with that. I don't think it's healthy for the lending protocol to have all the monies. That's not, who's #1?
SparkDex at the moment. So
yeah, that makes sense to me. That's where all the pools are. Very important for the function of a lending protocol to have access to DEX liquidity. We don't just operate on having money supplied to us. We are supported by many, many partners, SparkDex included. So I don't have a plan. To retake the spot of Flare's #1 protocol by TVL. I'm quite fine with the DEX having a lot of liquidity to help support Kinetic.
I think you can see the network as a sports team, and we all have our roles to play. And sometimes one scores and then another one scores, but we need each other.
Yeah, we're not trying to replace SparkDex. We're not a DEX.
Oh, wow.
That's all, folks.
Yeah, there's no question like when is the borrow cap going up? Why?
Come on.
This is your chance.
That's all the we had 2 questions.
That's almost unfair. All right. Maybe people got like a bit tired of our egg jokes.
How?
All right. We'll take it. Hey, Jake. It was super to have you on the show. Always fun. I think it was really good to visit Kinetic or revisit Kinetic again. So much stuff has happened. And it's good to see the app ever evolving. So really cool. And I hope to get you back at some point again.
Maybe on a panel, you know, the full exposure.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
me full
that's
time's a
definitely
little
a
rough.
possibility. Yeah.
Gotta space that out.
I mean, we're getting close to being 1 year old, so I'm assuming Kinetic is also almost 1 year old.
We're over a year old.
Are you over a year old? Are you older than Scepter?
Well, yeah, right?
I'm not. I don't know.
Well, it's fuzzy for me. It's fuzzy for me because like I and we, Kinetic has been around. We were around for a while for our protocol launched.
Yeah. That
Much
doesn't
to
count
the
for the
chagrin of
people.
many involved, me included. I'm like, let's get this out here.
Yeah.
We did not anticipate that. So yeah, okay. So I guess yeah, you're correct.
I think we probably launched around the same time. That makes sense.
Yeah. I think June.
Yeah.
June.
For us, it was June the 5th. So
I think pretty maybe June the 7th or June the 3rd. Yeah. So you're right. We're not the protocol itself's not a year old yet, but I've been doing it for well over a year. So it just it took forever for us to launch. Can you guys believe that? I was asking myself when.
Yeah, me too. Same thing. I think I worked on the protocol for like 4 months before we even got near launching. So
yeah.
But it's great. So we've been around almost for a year, and I'm sure there will be some 1 year related things. At least on our side, we will do that. We will make people guess something. I'm not gonna say yet what. I guess people have to just check our socials.
Are we gonna have like a little party or
a guessing game, and maybe like a multi-protocol show could be something nice.
Seems good to me.
That makes sense. Like,
That
celebrate together.
Yeah.
Wait, celebrate. I can do that. I had something terrible for that.
The budget's about to increase.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe this.
The accountants are sweating. Whoa! Oh my gosh! I can't do that.
You should see the other ones. They're very corny, but anyway, they're.
I can do this.
Fuck! What's that?
It's a fidget spinner. It's the best.
Oh, that's that thing. Yeah. I don't have that one. I've this one because I'm way more nervous than most people. So.
Oh, what is?
So this has all the different buttons from a controller, so you can like click and do everything without your game going completely haywire. All right.
Sure, yeah, tactile.
People, thank you for watching. We'll be back later. See you next time. I think my manager is ready to kick me out. So see you next time, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to stake, make sure to supply, and see you next time. Cheers.
Get ready for all the new stuff coming.
New stuff.